Team Carrot or Team Yamato? Which one do you support? Yo, Fidzy here, aka Hegassen. Team Carrot or Team Yamato? Why did I ask that question? I asked that question because it is one of the biggest questions going around right now in the One Piece community. The question of who is going to join the Straw Hats next? Who is going to be the next member of the Straw Hats? Is it going to be Carrot? Is it going to be Yamato? A lot of debate regarding these two characters, and in this video I'm going to break it down and go over my thoughts regarding these two characters and who I think is going to join the Straw Hat crew. Do I have my own personal preference? Of course I have my own personal preference, and here on the Hegassen channel there are no secrets. I am a member of Team Carrot. Yes, I'm a member of Team Carrot, but don't worry if you are Team Yamato. This is not a Yamato shaming video. I really like Yamato as a character. Very interesting character, very welcome addition to the One Piece roster. Lots of exciting stuff regarding Yamato going on right now and potential stuff in the future, but I do not personally believe that Yamato's future is with the Straw Hat Pirates, and this video I'm going to go over why I believe Carrot is more likely to join the Straw Hats over Yamato and discuss what I think Yamato's actual future might be. But before I get into breaking all of this down, please let me know down in the comments below what character you think is most likely going to join the Straw Hats. Of course, all of this is based on speculation up to manga chapter 988. Anything could happen afterwards, and my opinion could very much change if Yamato does end up becoming a member of the Straw Hat crew, and there are a lot more hints regarding Yamato becoming a member of the Straw Hat crew. I'm not going to be upset because, like I said, Yamato is an interesting character. Now, before I get into this video, please let me know down in the comments below, what did you pick? Did you pick Team Carrot? Did you pick Team Yamato? Or did you pick Team somebody else? Let me know down in them comments. So, before I even get into Carrot and Yamato, I have to answer 3 questions. The first one is, why them? Why Carrot and why Yamato? Why not any other characters? Are there any other contenders for the Straw Hats? There are a few, at least I believe there are a few. There's Momonosuke, there's Otama, and there's Kinemon. They are the 3 that I think stand out at the moment as other potential candidates to join the Straw Hats, but I do not believe any of them will actually join. Momonosuke and Otama, pretty easy. They're too young, I believe. I think they're too young to join the Straw Hat crew, even though they have some good connections with the Straw Hats. I do not believe that they will join, especially Momonosuke, because he's got his own destiny. He's got his own future in Wano as becoming the Shogun of Wano, a dream that he has recently announced. And Kinemon is a little bit the same as Momonosuke. I think he has his own destiny. It's a little bit weirder for Kinemon because Kinemon, he's been around a long time. He has been a temporary member of the Straw Hats for quite a while. We first met Kinemon at the beginning of Punk Hazard. So Kinemon has basically been around for almost the entire post-time skip, pretty much the entire New World. You know, the only arc he was missing post-time skip was the Return to Shab Ondi and Fishman Island. Apart from that, Kinemon has been with us ever since the beginning of Punk Hazard. But I don't think he is going to be eventual Straw Hat material, even though he's had so many journeys with the Straw Hats. And that is because, one, I don't think he is unique enough. And uniqueness is something that I will talk about a lot more when I get into Carrot and Yamato. I don't think he's unique enough because he's just another sword user. Sure, he has his devil fruit. Sure, he can cut fire. But apart from that, he doesn't have anything else that really makes him stand out from Zoro and Brook, the other sword members of the crew. And also, I think Kinemon has his own destiny and future in Wano. He has a wife in Wano. I'm sure at the end of Wano, if Kinemon survives, I think Kinemon will finally reunite with his wife, settle down, start a family, and hopefully have a happy ending. I'm upset saying this because obviously I am a big Kinemon fan, but I don't think Kinemon will be joining the crew. Similar to Kinemon, another character that is mentioned a lot and another character that has been around since Punk Hazard is Trafalgar Law. But again, I do not think Trafalgar Law will be officially joining the Straw Hats. Like Kinemon, I think Law's story is basically over. It's nearing its end. It's already kind of reached its end. Law set up the whole Yonko saga, the whole path towards Kaido, but he only did that so that he could fight Don Flamingo along the way, and all of that story is done. So apart from that, I don't really know, apart from finishing off the promise he made about defeating Kaido, what is left in Law's story. In fact, if this video was titled, what characters are most likely to die in Wano, Law will be up near the top. So I don't think there is much of a future for Law joining the Straw Hats either. The next question I have to answer is, why are we even talking about another Straw Hat? You know, we just had Jinbe join the Straw Hats. Why do we need to talk about any more? And that is because way back at the beginning, Luffy said that he wants 10 members on his crew. Jinbe was the 10th, yes, but the old theory was that Luffy meant 10 including himself, but the general consensus now is that what he actually meant was 10 excluding him, so 11 Straw Hats overall. Jinbe was the 10th Straw Hat, but the 9th underneath Luffy, so that potentially leaves one spot left. Now, none of this is set in stone, none of this is official. Luffy has to have 10. Like I said, both Carrot and Yamato could join, neither could join. Jinbe could be the last one. Nothing has been set in stone that actually says that there has to be one more member of the Straw Hat crew, but from everything that we've seen, it looks like that is the way it's going to go. So there is one spot left. And the final question, why now? Why are we talking about this now? Why are we talking about Carrot? Why are we talking about Yamato? Why aren't we talking about somebody else in a future arc? And the simple answer for that is there's only one arc left. One Piece is in its final run. It only has Wano and one arc left. It only has 4 to 5 years left. I think if nobody joins in Wano, then I don't think there's any hope for anybody else joining in the next arc. Because what would be the point? We'd be on the last arc. Will there be enough time to flesh out a new character and do the last arc and have them have enough feats and interactions with the rest of the crew? I don't think so. The next person that joins the crew has to be somebody that we already know and are already interacting with. Yamato, even though Yamato is a brand new character, and I know a lot of you are typing right now, but Yamato's a new character. Well, at least if Yamato joins now, Yamato would still have the Wano stuff as well as the final arc stuff. But if it's any character after Wano, all they're going to have is whatever is left for that final arc. So, let's get into the breakdown and let's start with Carrot. And we'll carry on talking about something that we were just discussing. And that is Carrot's history with the crew. Because Carrot already has some existing history with the crew. She has been around since the Zou arc. And she was there for the entire of Whole Cake Island arc and is now here in the Wano arc as well. So she has already got 3 arcs under her fluffy belt. And that existing history within the series has allowed her to have some already pivotal moments with the Straw Hat crew in Whole Cake Island. She was up in the crow's nest acting as the lookout. And then she had that big moment where the Straw Hats were in big danger and she went Sulong and helped them escape. So she has already had some big moments within the crew and has already set herself up a nice little niche within the crew, which is something I will talk about later on. And of course, having 3 arcs under your belt means that Carrot has already had a lot of time to set up some connections with the crew. And for me, this is one of the most important things, I think, when it comes to considering the next Straw Hat, and that is how they fit into the crew and what their connections and what their relationships are to the rest of the crew. And thankfully, Carrot already has a good track record with that. She already has a nice relationship with Luffy. They have a good friendly dynamic going on. Luffy doesn't seem bothered by Carrot's presence at all. He's never like, get off my ship, what are you doing here? In fact, he tolerates Carrot and seems to really enjoy her company. Carrot was introduced into the Straw Hat crew, kind of like with Jinbe, even though Jinbe had established history. Whole Cake Island was his first time really kind of getting in there with the crew, being on the ship with them outside of like some fights in Fisherman Island. And Carrot was there as well, and she kind of developed a respect for Jinbe, and they were working together a little bit as well up when Carrot was up in the crow's nest. Again, keep remembering Carrot in the crow's nest because I'm going to be coming back to that. One of the most important ones with Carrot is her relationship with Sanji. Sanji helped save the minks, and in return, Carrot wanted to go out and help save Sanji when Sanji was in trouble. And during the mission to save Sanji, Carrot's mentor Pedro sacrificed himself for the Straw Hat. You'd think that this would be a big conflict, but Carrot had enough respect for Sanji, enough respect for Pedro and Pedro's will, and forgave Sanji for it, even though Sanji was feeling such guilt, and they kept a strong bond full of respect, and I think that's really important. And of course, how can we talk about Carrot and her relationship with the crew without talking about Nami and Chopper? Chopper and Carrot, they already set themselves up as a great little brother-sister dynamic. They were together throughout all of Whole Cake Island, and we keep seeing it here as well in Wano. Them two are pretty inseparable now. Same with Nami and Carrot as well. Nami and Carrot have developed this kind of nice little friendship, this kind of like nice little kind of girlfriend style relationship. Something that Nami has actually kind of really needed. Even though we already have Robin in the crew, Robin is more in the kind of the mature aspect of the Straw Hat crew. Mingles more with Frankie, now Jinbe and Brooke. Whereas now it's nice to have Nami, have Carrot, and they now have this kind of best friend, girlfriend style relationship. And I think that if Carrot now wasn't to join the crew, all of these connections that she's made with the Straw Hats would be kind of wasted. Especially the stuff with Nami, especially the stuff with Chopper. After connections, the second most important thing, I think, when considering the next Straw Hat, is a uniqueness. You've got to be unique among the crew. The crew is already a very diverse bunch, and I think Carrot ticks a lot of them boxes. Of course, obviously, she's a girl, and the crew is very much needing another girl on the crew. But most importantly of all, she is a mink, and everything that comes with a mink. The connections to Zoe, the connections to the Kazuki clan, the electro, the athleticism, the agility, the Sulong form, so much potential for Straw Hat that makes her stand out from the rest of the crew. She's a brawler, she has those unique gauntlets that she uses, very different from the rest of the crew. And as I mentioned, Sulong is the thing that really makes her stand out. When Brooke first joined the crew, even though, yeah, he looked unique because he was a skeleton, I was a little bit hesitant because he was another sword user, and we already had Zoro, and Zoro is like the main sword user of the crew, and then all of a sudden we had Brooke also using swords. But thankfully, over time, Brooke's abilities have developed, and you no longer think of him as just another swordsman because he has his musical powers, he has his ice powers, he has his soul and his spirit powers. And all of that makes Brooke far more unique than Zoro, so you don't get that kind of clash there. Like I was saying with Kinemon, he was another sword user, so that would have made 3 sword users on the crew, whereas Brooke and Zoro, they're so different, it makes both unique. And because we're now getting into the final run of One Piece, I don't think we have enough time for somebody with similar abilities to somebody else to really prove themselves to be unique and develop them abilities over time. If somebody is going to join the Straw Hat crew now, they have to be unique. Like with Jinbe, he's a fishman, he's got all of his water powers and everything, automatically unique to the rest of the crew. And the same is true with Carrot. Of course, you can't join the Straw Hat crew if you don't have a role within the Straw Hat crew. That's a very important thing when considering a Straw Hat. So what kind of role would Carrot fill? Well, she's already found herself a role. I've mentioned it a few times here. She's the lookout of the crew. And when you think of pirate ships, that is a very traditional thing. That is an ability that you always think about. When you think of a pirate ship, there's always somebody up in that crow's nest looking out with a telescope to see where the enemies are and to see where all of the islands are. And Carrot fit that role in the Whole Cake Island arc, while Jinbe took up the helmsman role, another must-have position on a pirate ship. Now, I can already hear you typing. But what about Usopp? Doesn't Usopp go up the top? Yes, but Usopp's role is the sniper, which I would argue is a bit different from being the lookout, especially when in terms of an actual pirate ship itself. Yes, Usopp is the sniper, but when you think of it as a pirate ship, that kind of means more he is the ballistics guy. He's the weapons guy. He's the guy in charge of the cannons and firing the cannons, and we've seen him take on that role. So having him away from the crow's nest, down with the weapons, suits Usopp a lot more and allows him to be a lot more of a sniper in the crew. And then it kind of makes the crew feel a bit more whole, and everybody then has their positions. You have Carrot up the top. She's looking out, using her, enhanced animal style abilities to gain a better sense of the world around her. She's using that to tell people where the enemies are, where islands are, what the sea currents and stuff are looking like. Then she can relay that information down to Usopp on the weapons, to Jinbe, who's the helmsman, to Nami, who's looking at the maps, making sure that they're on course, checking the weather, Frankie, who's doing the repairs, making sure that the maintenance is all working. Sanji's making sandwiches. The crew becomes a much more well-oiled machine. Finally, the last thing when considering a Straw Hat, and this is Carrot's biggest weakness, is a backstory and a dream. Now, Carrot, admittedly, doesn't really have much of a backstory. She is very young, and that is her biggest weakness, and one that I hear come up a lot when people are debating whether or not Carrot should actually join the crew. Does she have a dream? A lot of people argue that she doesn't, but I would say that she does, because her dream is what Pedro's dream was. Pedro's dream was to see the dawn of the new world. When Pedro met Luffy and the Straw Hats, he saw in them that they were going to be the ones that would be the dawn of the new world, that would start the dawn of the new world. So that is why he sacrificed himself. He sacrificed to save them, to save Sanji, because he thought that they were going to be the ones that would fulfill his dream. And in his dying moments, he passed on that will to Carrot, and Carrot even acknowledged that she will continue Pedro's dream. She'll continue Pedro's dream to help Luffy, to help the Straw Hats, to achieve their goals of starting the dawn of the new world. And in doing so, also cover her other dream to actually go out there and see the world for herself. So Carrot does have a dream, and it's tied to her mentor, Pedro, as well as the rest of the Mink tribe. So that's Carrot. That's everything as to why I think Carrot will join the Straw Hats. I think it's quite a strong case as to why Carrot will join the Straw Hats. Plus, I haven't even mentioned the fact that every time we get like a group shot recently of the Straw Hats, even in Wano, Carrot is always there. Carrot's always there. She already feels like she's part of the crew. You know, even though every now and then she might go off with the Musketeers and the rest of the Minks, she still feels like she is part of the crew, at least to me, and that is mainly because she has already had that history with the Straw Hats, connections with the Straw Hats, really good relation with characters like Chopper and Nami, good stuff with Sanji, the stuff with Pedro, him passing on his will. For me, Carrot already feels like she is part of the crew. So Yamato. Why Yamato? If Carrot is such a good contender for the Straw Hats, why are people even talking about Yamato? Well, firstly, it's because Yamato is a very strong woman, and also because of one line of dialogue. When Luffy first met Yamato, Yamato, who is a character that is so inspired by Oden, she is basically pretending to be Oden. So Yamato, right now, is essentially Oden. And to the point where Yamato is even like, Momonosuke is my son. That is the level that Yamato acts like he is Oden. So Oden had obviously gone off on a voyage with Roger out to see the rest of the world. And when Yamato saw Luffy for the first time, Yamato saw Luffy as a Roger-like figure. Big compliment for Luffy, but Yamato saw Luffy as a Roger-like figure. And being an Oden, being essentially an Oden wannabe, Yamato was like, well, I got to join your crew so that you can be Roger and I can be Oden, and we can go out and cosplay these characters and have the same adventures as them. Now, what's important here is that Luffy didn't say yes, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but that is why Yamato wanted to join the Straw Hats. So that is where a lot of this Yamato for Straw Hat is coming from, because of the fact that there is already talk. Even though Yamato has only been there in a few chapters, there's already talk of Yamato and the Straw Hat crew coming together. But will that happen? Let's go over what I said about Carrot with Yamato, and we'll start off with what again I said was one of the most important things when considering a Straw Hat, and that is connections. And unfortunately Yamato has only been around for a few chapters, and so far Yamato has only interacted with Luffy. Luffy has already said that Yamato is strong and a good guy, but that is where it ends. Apart from that, Luffy seems a little bit annoyed with Yamato as well at times. And again, I think it's because of something else that I'm going to talk about more towards the end of this Yamato section. As it stands, as of chapter 988, we have no idea how Yamato will get on with the rest of the Straw Hat crew. And I have a suspicion that while Yamato is already bonding with Luffy, by the end of Wano, Yamato will be more bonding with characters such as Momonosuke and the Nine Red Scabbards, a lot of the characters that actually have connections to Oden as opposed to the Straw Hat crew. So Yamato doesn't have any pre-existing history and doesn't have any connections with the Straw Hats at the moment. So what about uniqueness? Well, Yamato already has a really big tick in that regard, because Yamato is the daughter of a Yonko, and that is really cool. That would be a really interesting thing, seeing somebody from a Yonko's crew, a Yonko's family even, going against their Yonko parents and joining the Straw Hats. That would be really epic. That would be a big power move. You know, we just had Jinbe, a warlord, join the Straw Hats. Now let's get somebody from a Yonko's roster. But apart from that, I think the uniqueness actually sadly ends there. In terms of design, Yamato looks a little bit too similar to Nami apart from the horns. Yamato's main weapon is a big club, so very similar to Kaido. It would be really cool to have like a mini Kaido on the crew, but it's just another melee weapon user. Apart from the club, we haven't seen anything else from Yamato. It is early days. Yamato could have a lot more powers, a lot more interesting powers. Similar, like I said, with Brook, there might still be enough time for Yamato to show off a lot more unique abilities. We do not know if Yamato has a devil fruit or not, and what kind of haki abilities Yamato can do. But right now, Yamato, just a melee weapon user, uses a club. You know, it's different from a sword, but not that different from a sword. So right now, Carrot has a lot more uniqueness to the Straw Hats that Yamato would actually bring. If you had all of the Straw Hats all lined up, Carrot would stand out more than Yamato, I feel. As I said with Carrot, you can't join the Straw Hats if you don't have a role. What would Yamato's role be? Unfortunately, again, it comes down to the fact that we don't know a lot about Yamato. All we know about Yamato is acting like Oden, has a club like Kaido, and has Oden's diary, which contains information about the Roger Pirates and their adventures. So because of that, I've seen a lot of talk about maybe Yamato will be some kind of like record keeper or something like that. But if that's the case, then Yamato, you're a little bit too late. Most of One Piece has been done. You've missed all of the adventures. What kind of records are you going to be keeping? Just about the final act of the show. You know, if anybody on the crew was going to be keeping records, that would be Nico Robin. Because Nico Robin, she is a historian, the archaeologist, the academic of the crew. That kind of fits her role more. I've seen other people mention, well, maybe Yamato's going to, you know, be able to read the poneglyphs, kind of like Oden. Because, you know, Yamato is Oden. But then, that's Nico Robin's role. All of the poneglyph stuff, that's all kind of Nico Robin's thing. So if Yamato did that again, kind of stealing her thunder, could Yamato be the lookout of the crew? Maybe. Heck, why not? But so far we've had no hints of that. Carrot has already established that niche as her own. What Yamato though has over Carrot is backstory. As mentioned, daughter of a Yonko, has Oden's diary, has connections to Oden, was there at the execution, and connections to Wano. So a very interesting backstory. We haven't even got into the backstory in full, so there could be a whole load more information there as well. In terms of a dream though, this is where things get a little bit complicated, because Yamato's dream is Oden's dream, and we haven't really seen Yamato as Yamato. We've only seen Yamato pretending to be Oden. I know when I was talking about Carrot, that Carrot had an inherited dream as well, but on top of that, Carrot also had her own desire to go out and see the world, and the whole Dawn of the New World stuff, that is also linked very heavily into the mink mythology as well. A lot of minks feel that way, so it's a little bit different with Carrot, whereas with Yamato, I feel like Yamato's arc isn't going to be about fulfilling Oden's dream and Oden's will, because Yamato was mainly doing this because Yamato didn't know about Momonosuke and about Kinemon and the 9 red scabbards surviving. Yamato thought that it was only himself, nobody else was around to inherit Oden's will, but there are lots of people, as we've seen, actually have inherited Oden's will and are carrying that will forward, and more better suited to carry Oden's will forward. Yamato's dream, I imagine, will probably shift and change more into finding out what they actually want to do, who they are, who is the real Yamato, and finding their own goal and their own path. Could Yamato do that while a member of the Straw Hat crew? Maybe, but this is where I think it ties back into Luffy not saying, yeah, sure, join my crew, why not? Because I don't think Luffy will say, yeah, join my crew, until Yamato actually says, can I join your crew? Not somebody pretending to be Oden. And I don't think by the time we get to the end of Wano, Yamato will have figured out exactly where Yamato wants to go in the future. So I don't see Yamato joining the Straw Hat crew just yet. I can see it like as an open invite, kind of like Vivi. When you're ready, you can join the crew. But right now, you're not ready to join the crew. If you remember with Usopp, when Usopp was trying to rejoin the crew, Luffy didn't let him back on the crew until he was honest, until he actually said the truth. That's when they were like, turn the ship around, let's go get Usopp. I think the same is going to be with Yamato. Luffy isn't going to say yes until Yamato gives an honest reason as to why Yamato actually wants to join the Straw Hat crew. And as mentioned, I don't think that is going to come until well after Wano. I think at the end of Wano, we're probably going to leave Yamato maybe as being an aide to Momonosuke, helping Momonosuke as Momonosuke actually does take on Oden's will and become the Shogun, and then maybe go off and do some soul searching on his own. So there you go. There are my thoughts as to the whole Yamato versus Carrot debate. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I was very nervous recording this video because there was a lot of information to try and talk about, and it can be a very touchy subject. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, I could be completely wrong. This video could end up being completely irrelevant. Both could join the crew, none could join the crew, somebody else could join the crew. For all we know, someone completely random like Caribou could end up joining the crew. But for now, these are my thoughts and feelings regarding it. I really actually believe that Carrot is going to be the next Straw Hat. And I feel like she is already kind of a Straw Hat, even though it's not officially been announced that she is a Straw Hat. And I think Yamato is going to have his own goals that are going to link more heavily to Momonosuke and to Wano, as opposed to the Straw Hats. Hey, so thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed my video, maybe give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not subscribe? You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. Oh, and here's a related video you might enjoy, and something more fresh. I've been Hegassen, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!